life, just having a good old time, man. Getting back down, going inside yourself, man. That's what I'm doing. Getting a chance to talk to God, man. Talk to the Most High. Alone, separate from everybody. The family down there. Everything slow down. You see and hear everything. Eating right, drinking the right food, thinking right. Get ready to get back to that concrete jungle in a couple days.
Big Past Life in the building. We're gonna jump into this live stream in a minute. All right, let's get down to business. Let me move up in here a little closer. Boom. Let's get down to business. As you can see, the title is Curious George. Now, I want to let a lot of people know, like, I've been following this brother named George Macon, right, for some years. Serious brother. He come with some serious topics. Let me get my light and get everything right. Bam. Can I get this right? Yeah, the brother come with some serious subjects, serious topics. I wanted to kind of like dig deep into like not so much the pearly things situation, but more or less, I wanted to dig into the people defending her, these brothers that are defending her. So what I do is, excuse me, but we're gonna jump right into it, man. Ain't no sense of playing. We're gonna jump right into it.
Yeah, see, yeah, it's coming from that side, because when you mute, there's no more feedback. I'm gonna play some more video.
Yeah, that's your side. Okay. So they enslaved and at least colonized the continent. Okay. So when you colonize a continent and then you take ownership of the resources, you're able to gather those resources together and use them to your own benefit. Right. And so you gather those resources, use them to your own benefit, and build up your economy, all the while messing up the economy of that actual country. Do you think that?
Now, in this video, he's explaining to her this stuff, right? Well, let's go over to this one. Watch this. Watch this. Let's go over here to this one when she's talking to this girl. Watch this, Richie. Let me share it this way. Here we go.
At least that thought of like, this is going to be hard for us. We can't do this. And they stay there. And so I would agree. Obviously, I would agree with that quote. Like there are things that just happen in the world that we can't control. And it's just a lasting effect. Like you were saying earlier with the tax bracket.
Now, again, I want my sisters to see this, right? Because this is something I always talk about, brothers, and how we are. This is how we behave when we get around white folks. But we don't do this with each other, though. This sister know damn well how she feel about reparations and how she feel about what the white man did to us. But she's completely neutralized talking to this goddamn 26-year-old white woman who read a goddamn Thomas Sowell book.
Yeah, and you know, just to make a synopsis of what he's talking about, a lot of us, it's a saying, if you want to know the truth about a black person, you put them in front of a white person and see if they speak from the heart. You know what I'm saying? So George is making a very, you know, it's a common, you know, it's a common knowledge of, you know, the idea that you stick a black person, a black person is going to be truthful and going to be a different way when they're around white people. So let's jump back into it.
Don't know anything. We would have cussed each other out. This is what we do. And this is what I'm trying to explain to our people, how she can come in. Wait till I get to Mr. Fantastic and all that, but I want to lead with this part first because I want to show. I've been saying this about Skinny, about how we behave around white folks. We big and bad amongst ourselves. We get around white folks, we start tripping and skipping, whipping and dipping, going through the tulips. Goddamn! Look at this foolishness.
There's effects to anything and everything that you do, whether it's good or bad. But in that, I feel like you have to, if it negatively affects you, how can you bounce back? If it positively affects you, okay, how can you take that and run with it?
Yeah, I agree.
Watch this.
And that's what eventually led me away from it.
I want you to talk. I'm sorry, guys.
What's so funny? I'm trying to figure out what's so funny.
We sure do.
You can say it was on. You can say what's on your mind.
No, nothing's on my mind.
Okay,
I'm sorry. No. It's just like
Look at this shit.
No, it's just like I think that I'm Yvette Nicole Brown. I'm here to talk about the.
Just want to let y'all know.
I know.
You hear it? Look, she don't want to say it.
I like having like conversations like this with the other side because I'm interested just to see
what's so
hear,
funny.
Like, what are your thoughts?
I was thinking the same thing. Like, what's
really funny?
Okay, it's more like, of course, there's going to be effects. Mm-hmm. Like that happened for how long? I don't. Yeah, of course. But it's more like, what can you do about it? Mm-hmm. You can't do anything about it now.
Well, if she's acting like she doesn't even know how long it happened and don't know the intricacies and all the things that we went through, why is she speaking on it? And why is this woman allowing her to speak on it? This is the shit that, like, this is the stuff, and I'm gonna get into all of this after I finish playing all of this out. We suffer from severe crackatosis, acute white affinity syndrome. I mean, it's severe. Yep. It's like we need emergency surgery right now. It's bad, and white folks know this shit, Lil Nar. They know it.
2022. So the only thing you can do is try to be like make right going forward. I don't think like they'll talk about reparations and stuff.
Okay, so reparations. I've seen it on a lot of videos, like when the law was passed that there no slavery, abolished it. We were supposed to, well, not me. The slaves were supposed to get.
And I want this to be known. You know, I want to bring awareness to conversations. I wish we can have conversations like this, you know, in general with brothers, you know, and I miss this panel. I wish I could have been on this panel to kind of converse and give my understanding of what's going on with this thing. But we understand it's not about pearly things. It's more about the Negroes that are protecting her, the coons. And, you know, once I saw it, I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I'm basically sharing this with those who are sub to me, so I can introduce you to George Macon and what he's going through, because as foundational Black Americans, B1, you say you B1, then, you know, share the content, share, you know, we should support one another. And clearly I'm trying to bring support and bring awareness to a topic that, you know, he covered, and that's where we at. Let's get back into it.
40 acres and mule. And I remember asking my mom, like, who agreed on that? Why 40 acres and mule? And she like was telling me like, well, back in the day, 40 acres, you had your own land, and a mule, you were able to put crops and be able to plant and have land to do that. And so now I've seen people calculate like, well, if we go back and we talk about, we get the 40 acres and a mule, and then like they calculated like what else would we get now, and like what's the word, when interest, they tax interest on it, and they're like, we're owed like a lot of money. I'm like, if that was true today, I'd be a rich person if we got reparations. So I don't know if that's possible or if that's ever going to be a thing, but
so the problem with reparations is what percentage of white people do you think actually owned slaves in the U.S.?
She quoting Thomas Sowell right here.
I want you to notice her preciseness of how she's speaking to formulate this argument. To the ditzy white girl you saw in the other clip, where Ryman was dropping fans. Oh, what's that? What's this? Look how she immediately knew what she's about to say. So just look how the difference in which she's going to lay this one down with a certain certainty all of a sudden. Yeah.
And the other problem is money doesn't solve poverty. If money solved poverty, then like people could just throw money at a poor person and they'd become rich. But with lottery winners, they're like they go broke faster than anyone.
What size poverty, Pearly?
Yeah.
What
it's
size
about like
poverty?
managing money and being able to run a business. Like I think reparations possibly at the time, like at the time, but you can't like how you're making people that didn't do anything pay for something their great.
Now I'm gonna pause that. Now right there, when she say that, those are old white supremacist talking points. Where why should I have to pay? Now, when do you don't see white folks out in the mainstream like that saying that against Jews or other groups, right? And you have certain white folks that also got reparations after the war that owned slaves. They got reparations, right, for the war and losing their slaves. So this is the thing, right? When she knows how delicate of a topic this is amongst blacks in the West. And she's boldly speaking on this, knowing that she has black people that she makes money off of. I don't blame Pearly for this. I blame us. This is our fault. Because as I'm gonna wait, Lakeisha, because I'm gonna show y'all.
Grandparents did. Even if you did the direct descendants. Like most people immigrated here after slavery. Like I have a grandparent from Lithuania or a great grandparent from Lithuania.
Oh, you're saying that? Okay, I thought. Okay,
and you have to understand even and then what about the white people that fought on the other side?
That fought.
Now you hear all these talking points, right? These are the talking points that white conservatives use and neo-Nazis use, and they're saying that their militia is the one that established America. Their militias is the one that fought against Europe. Man, y'all gotta understand the talking points and all the stuff that they do. She's using these talking points. She's not stupid. She's raised in the white nationalist home. She knows this stuff. Now, when it comes to slavery, and she's not getting into how the labor was built and how institutions was built based off of black wealth, based off of cotton, based off of rice, based off of sugar. Who was working in those fields? And then after slavery, we had a whole 100 years of Jim Crow and segregation. She's not getting into all of that.
Well, hold up. Remember the last interview where he's telling her that shit and telling her the rise of that is what's giving the boom to the West, is making people want to come to America, come to Europe, do work. That's all off the back of the slavery. Remember her whole ditzy, really? What colonialized? I don't know. That was her responses. But now you can with a surety say this talk here. Really?
Look, let's listen to a little bit more, then we're gonna get into Obsidian.
Against.
Yeah. So it's almost like I just don't know how that would work.
It's like I understand what you're saying. It's like you're grouping everybody.
No, you're not. It's against the federal government. It has nothing to do with them.
My descendants didn't have nothing to do. We were elsewhere when all this stuff was happening.
I want y'all black people to understand, when you hear white folks talk like this, they're not your friends. I keep telling you, you have no friends on multiple levels. Our grievances is with the federal government, United States government, for what they allow and laws that was not enforced to protect us. White folks, black folks are bearing the burden of things that happened to us in times of past, and white folks benefit from it. You benefit just from being white. But I want to get over here. Let's cross over real quick. Let's cross over. Let's go over here. Let's go to these times.
Just ride with me on this one. We just man, the conversation and the topics gets real good.
Start off
it gets interesting. Yeah, heard me. Just ride with me on this one, man. George, I mean, they go in right here.
Yeah, I know.
And it's about understanding what's going on in terms of like individuals that's capable.
Because I don't know where this conversation is going to go to in regards to helping the conversation move forward.
I want to give Just Pearly Things a chance, and then we'll go to go right ahead, Pearl.
No, I agree with what he said.
Very good. Jessica X, you're on the air. Go right ahead. You're on the air with Just Pearly Things. And this is very interesting because you're also a native Brit of
Now I want y'all to listen to Obsidian. I want y'all to listen to these black men on here and how they defend this white woman. I mean, it's unbelievable. The level of coonery, and buffoonery, shucking and jiving is at an all-time high. I'm talking about coons a hazard high.
A black background. So go right ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, so I did my live stream yesterday, and I know Pearl listened to it. I saw her in the chat. And I could see actually both sides of the situation and what's going on. But I do have to say that even in this interview so far, Pearl, and the first thing I said in my show was that you should not have spoken on this issue, because you as a white person are removed from a black person's experience. And that comes through in the arguments that you're making about reparations. You say that it's not fair for white people today to pay for, you know, the sins of their forefathers, of their ancestors. But white people today benefit from the sins of their forefathers and ancestors. Black people today have to struggle because of the sins of white people's forefathers and ancestors. And that's what reparations is about. White people in America, hundreds of years of head start over black people. Whether they utilize it or not, they have had that opportunity where black people haven't. So reparations is to make up for that. Because you're white, it's not your situation, it's not something you can experience or empathize with. You're so far removed, and I don't think that you see that. And that's why it doesn't make sense for you to speak on these situations, because you're so removed from it. Your stance is unsympathetic, it's out of touch, and it's not something that you need to be speaking on publicly. So I'll say that about that.
Pearl, your response, and I would like to respond too.
What do you need to respond for? It's Pearl's interview, nigga.
No, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I agree. I shouldn't really talk about that stuff. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he want to respond on everything that's going on.
Well, I would say this, Justin.
Watch Coon City.
It go to deflection.
This is the thing that I don't understand. If Pearlie's up here on the high seat questions, why the fuck is Coon City speaking for her? And then he's throwing in, he's throwing in challenge. He's challenging what she's saying by throwing in shit that don't make sense. Come on, Coon City, and come on.
I accept your premise that Pearl is not qualified to discuss this. As a native-born Black American who can trace his lineage back to before the Civil War, I can say that you may be on thin ice in this regard as well. Professor Glenn Lowry, born in Chicago,
there you go, deflect.
A graduate of Northwestern University and MIT, one of the youngest tenured professors at Harvard University that's Black ever, holding forth now at Brown University, also is against reparations. Are you familiar with that, Jessica?
Oh, Richie, what the frick? What the fuck does that got to do with what X is asking her?
Absolutely.
I mean, with this coonery. I mean,
this is what they do.
Who cares about what that professor thinks? Who cares? Wait till I get the psychopathist part. Because listen, psychopathist was talking to her. Coon City was trying to debate Psycho. Psycho's like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm asking her questions, not you. I mean, listen, the level of the man. I'm gonna put the link down for Psycho to come up in a minute too.
It doesn't matter, Obsidian. That's besides my point. Whether Professor Brown is against reparations.
Professor Lowry.
Professor Lowry, sorry. Professor Lowry is entitled to his opinion, and Black people have different stances on the reparations. But again, it's something that you experience, and it's part of what you know. It's external to Pearl. It's alien. And I get what you're saying in terms of me skating on thin ice, and I acknowledge that. I acknowledged that in my live stream yesterday, and I challenge you to find where I give my stance on slavery and reparations. The furthest I go is that I think Black people deserve reparations, and I'm saying that as somebody that has Black in me, right?
But this is the thing: she has one Black parent that's from the Caribbean. She can speak on it because she has lineage from the Caribbean that comes from slavery.
Yeah, this white
woman don't have it at all. She has a mixed side. Coon City knows that, but he's protecting her. Let's just listen to some more.
Right? People are quick to disqualify the Black Brit experience or the Black Brit stance on slavery, but you have to remember a sizable amount of our population here is Caribbean, who are also descendants of slavery.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. 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 And I have no problem with the Caribbean case for reparations. I have nothing to say about it, as I'm not Caribbean and have not studied the matter to any degree. My only point in pointing out,
you need to study.
Lowry, number one, I've actually interviewed him on this channel, and we talked about the reparations issue, and he said on this channel why he was against reparations, and part of the reason was the same as Pearl.
Yo, are you fucking serious?
You see, the problem is, and that's why, again, when you start to talk to them about the Jews,
hold on 1 second, Richard.
The Japanese, all these people.
One second. Hey, I'm dropping the link in the chat for Psycho. Only Psycho will come up real quick because when I play Psycho's timestamp, I want him to be able to speak on it. Psycho, if you can come up, come up. I want you to be able to speak on it. When I play your timestamp, I want you to speak for yourself. All right, go ahead, Richard.
Well, again, you're making this case for this idiot professor, but again, when we played the clip before and we're talking about all the other groups that have received reparations, she's acting like she don't even get the concept. Yeah, but suddenly you're gonna talk on now. Suddenly it's Black people saying like we shouldn't get shit.
Let me play some more. Wait till y'all hear these other people, man.
His position was, are we going to make whites, the vast majority of whom, by the way, got here after slavery ended, pay for those who did engage in it and others? So I'm just pointing out that Pearl is not unique along racial lines for taking an anti-reparations step.
Well, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Let's go. Let's move down. Let's listen to this coon. I mean, like the spirit chugging and man.
We get a little deep on this one, so just keep on riding. I don't think everybody holds
that opinion, but I think it's the actual.
Hey, Pearl, why are you apologizing?
Listen to this guy.
That's the part that's confusing me.
Why? I just think that I should have done my homework before that interview, and I should have had someone on the other side, and I really shouldn't have spoken on things that I don't know before the interview. So that's why.
But isn't that the purpose of an interview, to find out things you don't know?
Yeah, well, you're supposed to be asking questions, though, not really giving your personal opinions.
Of course you can give your personal opinion. It's your show. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing wrong with that show you did with me.
Now I want y'all, this is a real live 2023 Samba. I want y'all to listen to, this is This man is dangerous.
Yes.
These are the people, and as a pro-black, I feel vindicated because I've been calling these people out for years, and my channel has suffered for it. But so what? So what? Listen to this guy, man. You mean to tell me, will any of you black women lay down with a guy like this?
There's nothing wrong with that. So you don't have to apologize. Because other people got in their feelings, that's a different issue. But you didn't do anything wrong. Not in my opinion, no.
Yeah, I just saw it as a learning experience. So, yeah.
And then there was another thing brought up by, I think, E-Black. I think E-Black brought it up. This phrase, you're not qualified to speak on this topic. What do you think that means?
Watch this. Oh, wow.
What do I think that means? I think that means if you're gonna use sources and speak about a topic, that you should have a deeper understanding than I did.
Because it sounds like he's saying you can't speak on black topics because you're not black, which I feel is stupid.
That's what it sounds like to me, too, to tell you the truth. I'll be brutally frank with you. Now, stay where you are, Clue. Let me go to Black Thoughts. Yes, Black Thoughts, you're on the air. Obsidian Radio, Just Pearly Things Unplugged. Go right ahead.
Thanks for having me, Obsidian.
No problem. Go right ahead.
So I don't so much question for her. I just find the line of questioning abhorrent. I feel like some of the questions she's being asked is trying to trap her. And I really want to know, why would a bunch of Joe Biden supporters be upset about her having Nick Fuentes on? I'm looking at the chat and I'm just trying to figure this out. This is absurd to me. Nick Fuentes said these things, not her. So I'm not understanding the point of outrage.
That's not particularly a question of Just Pearly Things, but I'll go to her for her reaction. Pearl, your reaction.
I don't know.
Okay, let me go to Amiri Brown. Amiri Brown, the great liberator. Go right on ahead.
I think they're responding to Jason Black, not Pearl. Jason Black got a lot of people in their
hang on, one at a time, please. Amiri has the floor. Amiri Brown, go right there. You're on the air with Just Pearly Things.
Hey, how you doing? What's going on? I'm sitting there. I appreciate you letting me up on the panel. Hey, how you doing, Pearly Things? You might not know who I am. I am Amiri.
Hey, I'm gonna let Amiri play Psycho. At the next timestamp, I'm gonna play Mr. Fantastic. I want you to speak that. I'm gonna let you and you and Richie get that. You and Richie get Mr. Fantastic.
No doubt, no doubt.
Brown, host of the Amiri Brown Show. A couple of things that I wanted to address. I think when we having this discussion about what happened with, as I'll call it, Hategate. I think this is what happens with white people. Even though you yourself might not consider yourself to be racist, what tends to happen is when white people get in the company of other white people who are racist or white supremacists, they don't give pushback, or they'll in a roundabout way co-sign a lot of the hatred and venom that these white supremacists will spew at other minority groups, mainly black people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we were seeing with with your interaction with Nick Fuentes, which speaks to how problematic it was bringing a known white supremacist, white nationalist onto your panel, onto your show, and then addressing the reparations piece. You mentioned how that you acknowledged your advantages as a white woman from a 2-parent household, and how that basically gave you a leg up. But then out the other side of your mouth, you're against reparations. And I think this is what happens, that when we talk about racism, when we talk about white supremacy, something doesn't have to be race based in order for it to reinforce white supremacy. It can be like what your displaying by acknowledging how you're very privileged, not because you're only white, but because you're a woman and because you're from a two-parent middle class background, and how those advantages from those three different perspectives gives you a leg up over Black people in this country who, because of racism, have not been able to experience what we would consider the traditional American dream. And I think this is as I'm sitting here listening to your explanations and the things you're saying, this is what's creating a problem for me, because it's double speak, it's double talk. You mentioned about how men are discriminated against in this society, and again earlier you mentioned how because you're a white woman, class background, how you have a certain level of advantage. And then finally, the only thing I want to say, I have no problem with anybody advocating for men. I do think we do need male advocacy in this country. My problem is from content creators like yourself and Andrew Tate and others, is we want to blame women for the problems of men, when if you want to say that men are being discriminated against, we never talk about who's discriminating against them. It's not women discriminating against men, it's other men. You know what I'm saying? It's men who are driving these larger socioeconomic dynamics that's putting many average men in a rough spot. It's not coming from women, but yet when we see the content from so-called male advocates, they only speak to women as if it's somehow the responsibility of women to give men some type of purpose or station in life, when a lot of these problems are being spearheaded by men. And I'll just end it with that.
Pearl, your response. Go right ahead.
I don't really feel like going back and forth on the men versus women topic. I could, that's just gonna be a long conversation. But I was asked my opinion on reparations. I gave it. I don't really feel like going in depth about it. I've had certain advantages in life.
So now this is more double speak, because that's not what you said in the video that Obsidian just played. You said that you would be willing to have a back and forth with someone who was well informed enough to educate you properly on these issues.
Now, see, she's on here now with somebody that's going to challenge her. Sarah didn't challenge her. That young girl didn't challenge her. Yeah. Now she's on a hot seat with somebody would challenge her intellect about that. And she's running for the hills.
Yeah, she running.
And I was surprised, Psycho, that Obsidian stayed quiet on this part.
That's what I thought I heard.
But I thought it was about, like, we weren't talking about men and women today. Like, that wasn't the topic of the stream. But as for reparations, I just don't agree with them. But it's really not the hill I'm going to die on. So that's just my personal opinion.
All right, we're going to move on.
Hold on.
We're going to go to Man of Tomorrow.
No, hold on. Let's go over to watch this. Let's go over to. I'm gonna give you the floor, Psycho, on this one.
if you don't mind, that was a little business.
Goes in that direction, or
hold on. Let's let
I will have controversial guests on. I have a controversial show, so I think it'd be silly to say I won't have controversial guests on in the future. But I will be more prepared, and if someone has a controversial opinion, I will make sure that there is someone else to combat it. So I'm not, so it's not just one person.
Let me go to, because people in the chat room have reminded me of this, and they're right. I completely forgot all about Mr. Fantastic. My bad.
Yo, brace yourself for this. Put on your seatbelts, man. I mean, God, hey, Psycho, I gotta be 100% true. I think if I seen him in person, me and him would have to get a head, just a square up. You know how back in the day they form a circle and you just get a pair one-on-one. We would have the box, man. I don't want to kill him. I don't want to hurt him, but we definitely got to go head up. We definitely got to go head up because he out of pocket, bro. I'll let you and Richie get this one after we listen to what he say.
Bad, Mr. Fantastic, you're on the air. Just Pearly Things Unplugged. Go right ahead, brother. You have the floor.
Yo, what up? Oh man, appreciate you for coming on. Pearly, what's up? Yeah, so I really had a question for Blessing because I don't know if you guys remember what Blessing said, and Blessing said he was being attacked. For him, I guess not quitting or whatever.
I think he just texted me his phone died, but I can call him if you want.
Well, that's great. I would actually have more questions for Blessings because I'm trying to point out a thing where we're talking about racism. But so Pearly, how many, if you don't mind, that was a little business. How many black employees do you have? Well, not I don't even say employees. How many black people do you partner with?
Wait, hold on. You said someone has a question for you on the stream.
All right, yeah.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him. Can you hear me?
Shit.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Blessing, what's up, fam? Hey, man, I had a quick question, brother. When you was up here, you said that you were getting threats from black people about not quitting or something like that. You said.
Yep.
Wow, so black people were telling you to. So, brother, can I ask you this a little personal? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. So, before you were working for Pearly, were you making more money before you were working for Pearly, or is Pearly the most money you ever made in your life?
That was the most money I've made in my life.
Okay, so were any of those black people that were telling you to quit working for Pearly offering you a job equal to or more money than what Pearly was paying you?
No.
Oh, okay. So they just wanted you to just quit working for the white woman and go back to, I guess figuring it out on your own, basically.
Pretty much, they don't really care for.
And brother, were these UK people or American people or a little bit of both? Which was it? Was it mostly one or the other?
Sorry, what?
He wants to know. I'll tell him. He wants to know: was it American people sending you these messages or UK?
Listen to her.
It's American people, mostly. Then a little bit of UK ones, but mostly American.
Mostly American. Okay, cool. All right, that's all I need from him, Pearl. Thank you, brother.
And please allow me to do the following.
Allahu
Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! And also this.
This is a disrespectful little punk nigga. This Obscenian, Coolsinian dude. Now, if anyone know, let me give you a little background. Allahu Akbar just means God is great. God is the greatest. God is the greatest. And it's more of a term that's used for like situations of great desire or great dire situations, or just to kind of like, when you're in a group settings among brothers, then you would say that, you know what I'm saying, in an Islamic fashion. So he's doing it kind of like in a mocking way, because, of course he's doing it for, a ill remark that was made, a bullshit remark that was made. But let's go on and keep on riding.
Look at her laughing.
Guys, I didn't pay him to say that.
Look at her laughing.
That was bad. That was bad.
So I guess
that was bad.
Yeah.
He ain't finished.